Welcome, you amazing explorer of knowledge, to the Uncanny Valley podcast. Today, we're embarking on a pretty fascinating journey. We're heading into a truly unique corner of reality. Or maybe realities. We've got this stack of material we're unpacking, and it goes deep, really deep into what happens when fiction, myth, even our shared experiences actually become, real places, tangible places you could theoretically visit.
It does sound like something straight out of Dream, doesn't it? Or maybe, depending on the story, a nightmare. But the sources we've got here, they lay out this surprisingly detailed framework. It explains how these alternate worlds, which they call recursions, actually come into being and how they interact with our own world. So our mission today is to pull out the most important nuggets, connect the dots, because there are a lot of dots, and help you navigate this, frankly, mind-bending landscape without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, think of it as your essential guide.
Exactly. A shortcut to being really well informed about these bizarre, strange places that our stories can apparently lead to.
Exactly. So get ready, because this is where it starts to get really interesting and maybe a little weird. Okay, so let's unpack this core idea first. Our sources talk about recursions. They're described as basically limited alternate worlds. But here's the really wild part, the bit that kind of breaks your brain. They're seeded by Earth's fictions. Like, imagine your favorite book, or that movie you love, or even a tabletop game you play with friends. Imagine it becoming a real, tangible place you could actually go to.
It's compelling, isn't it? And the key thing here is that these aren't just, philosophical concepts or daydreams. The material is very clear. They are places of wonder, adventure, danger, and opportunity.
Yeah.
Real interactive environments. They come from what the sources call fictional leakage, which is such a great term.
Frictional leakage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it implies that our collective imagination, all the stories we tell, they have this power, maybe accidentally, to literally manifest new realities. Like, they mentioned the sorcerous land of Ardyne, steeped in magic, obviously. And then there's the shipwrecked recursion of Rook, which is basically a crashed alien spaceship that became its own world.
A whole world in a spaceship.
And it says there are thousands of recursions that kind of speckle this dark energy web around Earth. Thousands, each potentially unique.
Thousands. That's just staggering. But okay, these recursions, they don't just like flow in nothingness, right? They exist within something called the strange, or sometimes it's called the chaos sphere, which sounds mysterious, maybe a bit sinister. What is the strange?
That's the big underlying structure. And it's not just empty space. If you connect the dots in the material, the strange is described as this vast data network. Something constructed by, get this, technologically advanced aliens billions of years ago.
Billions. With a B?
Billions. And its original purpose, intergalactic travel. These ancient beings could apparently upload themselves into this dark energy web and then essentially print themselves anew at a distant star.
Like teleportation, but on a cosmic scale?
Exactly. No need for slow spacecraft. Just upload, transmit, download. A universal transit system built into the fabric of, well, something other than normal space. The scale is almost unimaginable.
Okay, that sounds like sci-fi paradise. A perfect system. So what happened? Why isn't it still doing that? Why is it now hosting worlds based on, King Arthur or space aliens?
Well, that's the catastrophic part. The sources state pretty bluntly that the builders lost control of their creation.
Yeah.
And they were either killed or consumed by it.
Consumed by it. Yes.
It implies this colossal ancient disaster. Something went profoundly wrong, fundamentally altering the network. So the strange, this tool for exploration, got corrupted, twisted. It became unpredictable, dangerous. And somehow, maybe because of that corruption, it started interacting with Earth's fictions, becoming this fertile ground for our stories to take root.
So the foundation these worlds are built on is actually a broken, ancient alien technology. That adds a whole other layer.
It really does. It's not just magic, it's catastrophe.
Fascinating. Okay, so these places exist, born from stories, living in this corrupted network. How do people, regular folks from Earth, get there? And what happens when they arrive? Do they just walk in?
Good question. It's not quite like just opening a door. Travelers, or explorers, as the sources often call them, use specific gateways. There are inapposite gates, also called matter gates, which seem to be more physical portals. And then there are translation gates. But the crucial mechanism, the thing that really defines the experience, is translation.
Translation, like languages.
Sort of, but for reality itself. When someone from Earth arrives in a recursion, their reality adapts to fit the rules, the laws of that new world. So, for example, if you went in with, say, a pistol in a business suit, you might translate into someone carrying a sword and shield wearing chainmail if you arrived in a magic-heavy place like Arden.
So you become part of the setting, basically.
Exactly. Your gear, maybe even some abilities, shift to match the narrative context. It ensures you fit in, more or less, but it also means you're subject to that world's rules. And there's a really important rule here, something fundamental the sources stress. No multiple parallel worlds.
Okay. So none of that meeting yourself stuff.
Right. You won't find alternate versions of yourself based on different life choices or timelines branching off from historical events like, what if Napoleon won Waterloo, that kind of thing. These aren't parallel Earths. They're new realities derived from fiction.
Oh.
Also, generally, true time travel through the strange isn't possible.
Generally.
Well, there's a little caveat. Some recursions, if they were seeded from time travel fiction, might grant the illusion of time travel within that specific recursion.
So it feels like time travel, but it's contained to that world.
Precisely. It's part of that recursion's narrative, not a way to actually change the past of our Earth or anywhere else. It's a really key distinction. And just to touch on how someone even starts this journey, the sources talk about the spark. It's described as this latent ability some people have, like an innate, maybe subconscious connection to the strange. It lets them perceive these recursions and eventually maybe translate.
So not everyone can do it.
Apparently not. And those who fully realize this ability, maybe through intense experience or training, they're called quickened.
Mm-hmm.
These quickened individuals have a much deeper connection, a better understanding of the recursions, make them sort of the natural explorers of these places, the pioneers.
Okay, this whole thing, hidden worlds, translation, spark, it sounds less like, NASA discovering a new planet and more like something out of a secret society novel. And surprise, surprise, that's exactly what the sources reveal. There are groups that have known about this for a long time. Let's talk about one of the big ones, the Implausible Geographical Society. Sounds intriguing.
Doesn't it? And what's really fascinating is just how deep their hidden history goes. Yeah. Way deeper than most other groups seem to realize. The IGS is described as a secret offshoot of the Royal Geographical Society of London. And it was founded way, way back in 1830.
1830. Wow, that's nearly 2 centuries ago.
Exactly, which is significant because another major player, this group called the Estate, they actually think their people were the first from Earth to find recursions.
But they were wrong.
By a long shot, yeah. The IGS predates them significantly. Initially, it was just a handful of quickened members within the main Royal Society. They met secretly, explored quietly, while the public society was busy mapping, jungles and mountains on Earth. But things changed dramatically in 1913. That year, the public RGS moved into Lowther Lodge, their famous headquarters in London. At the same time, the Implausible Geographical Society moved too, to their own headquarters. And here's the truly mind-bending part, the detail that just perfectly captures what recursions are all about. Their HQ isn't on Earth. It's a virtual duplicate of Lowther Lodge located in an Earth-like recursion of London based on the writings of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Get out! Their headquarters is in a Sherlock Holmes world.
Pretty much. Their base of operations is literally a piece of fiction made real. It's not just secret. It's hidden in another reality sculpted by literature. Talk about security through obscurity.
That is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
So what's their goal then? If they're based in a fictional London, what are they actually doing? And why all the secrecy? You'd think discovering new worlds would be front page news.
Well, their purpose is similar to the public society advancing knowledge. But their expeditions are into known and newly found recursions. And unlike the RGS, they keep everything secret. All their discoveries, their maps, their reports, it's all internal. Shared only among members. They don't publish findings. They don't seek public recognition, even though their members achieve, quote, amazing things in the face of adversity.
So it's exploration for its own sake, or for their own benefit?
Perhaps a bit of both. The secrecy is key. It means some people who other groups think are just lone operators, maybe digging for artifacts or knowledge and recursions, are actually IGS members working undercover. It's all about discrete knowledge acquisition, not fame. And they've been meticulous record keepers. They've been active for nearly 2 centuries, right? Most of that history is documented in a part of their headquarters called collections.
Collections. Like a museum?
Sort of, but much more comprehensive and secret. It's several rooms holding a couple of centuries worth of discoveries. Think expedition reports, handwritten journals detailing unbelievable journeys, incredibly detailed maps of recursions, photos, paintings, even actual objects brought back through those inapposite gates. Physical proof.
Wow.
The sources say collections hold over 1 million discrete items. There's even a reading room for members to study this huge archive of hidden reality. They're not just explorers, they're historians of the impossible.
Okay, nearly 200 years of secret exploration. They must have some interesting characters in their ranks, maybe some complicated ones. Can you give us a glimpse of the people involved? That always makes these groups feel more real.
Definitely. The sources highlight a couple of individuals who give you a real sense of the human drama within the IGS. First, there's Dame Amanda Wallace. She holds the president's office, but interestingly, she's not the acting president. Apparently, the society hasn't had one for 30 years, and she wouldn't want the job anyway. Her main roles are security for the IGS Lodge, their headquarters, vetting new members very carefully, and making sure word of their existence doesn't leak. Crucial stuff.
Sounds pretty important. Straight-laced.
You'd think so. But here's the twist, the human flaw. She has a gambling problem. She sometimes slips out to, put money down on the horses. And this is how she apparently attracted the attention of someone named Moriarty.
Moriarty, like the Moriarty from the Doyle stories their HQ is based on.
The sources describe him as a cross-recursion criminal of the worst sort. So maybe, or maybe someone inspired by him. Either way, he's noticed Dame Wallace, and through her, the IGS. She knows she's being watched now and is apparently preparing a trap of her own. So there's this whole layer of internal intrigue and potential danger simmering right at the top.
Wow. A secret society president with a gambling problem being watched by a multiversal supercriminal. Okay. Who else?
Then there's Richard Hunt. He's an explorer, described as quite intrepid, but he's got this, let's say, fixation. He has a pet theory about the famous missing Earth explorer Percy Fawcett. The guy who vanished in the Amazon in 1925 looking for the lost city of Z.
Yeah, I know the story.
Well, Hunt believes Fawcett didn't just die in the jungle. He thinks Fawcett tumbled into a recursion of particular mystery, one that Hunt himself calls the City of Z, and which has supposedly resisted discovery ever since.
So he thinks Fawcett found a recursion, and he's trying to find it again.
Exactly. But most of the other geographers, they think he's chasing ghosts. They figure he's bound to fail, just like Fawcett did. It really highlights the ongoing risks, the uncertainties, and maybe the obsessions that drive exploration in these strange places. Even within the IGS, there's doubt and debate about what's real and what's just a fool's errand.
So the IGS has been at this for almost 2 centuries, mapping these hidden worlds. But you mentioned they're not the only ones anymore. Who else is out there? What other groups are involved in exploring or exploiting these recursions?
Right, that was a big shift for them. The sources say the IGS was genuinely shocked when they realized other groups had formed and become active in the shoals of Earth. That's the region of the strange closest to us. Their near monopoly was over.
So more players on the board.
Definitely. The text explicitly mentions the estate, which we talked about briefly, the Karam, the Quiet Cabal, and Zal. Each of these probably has its own goals, its own methods, its own philosophy about recursions, and they're often in conflict, subtly or overtly. For instance, the IGS apparently stayed clear of Ruck, that shipwreck recursion, specifically because they were afraid of what the aliens there might do if they found out humans could also travel the strange.
So it becomes kind of like international relations, but between realities, geo-recursional politics.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a complex web of intrigue, competition for knowledge, resources, maybe even control over certain recursions. Exploration isn't just discovery. It's high-stakes espionage across dimensions.
All right, let's start our tour of these specific recursions. First up, Ardeen. The sources call it a sorceress land. Sounds like classic fantasy. What makes Ardeen tick? What are the dangers?
Ardeen runs firmly on the law of magic. Spells, enchantments, magical creatures, that's the norm there. But yeah, it's definitely not a fairy tale kingdom. It's described as brimming with danger. You've got your standard fantasy threats like dragons, but also things like Soulsworn.
Soulsworn?
Yeah, apparently tormented beings made from consumed souls. Then there are homunculi of the betrayer, artificial servants of some dark entity plus invaders from other recursions, and even demons of Lotan, another powerful, nasty figure. And the sources mention dangers lurking in ancient Qephilim ruins, remnants of some lost, maybe non-human civilization, so it's a layered world of threats.
Okay, so high magic, high danger. Got it. Anything particularly unique about the landscape itself?
Oh, definitely. One region stands out as particularly brutal, the Glass Desert. It covers the southern Daylands, described as a vast, sear plain of reflective glass. Imagine that. Miles and miles of glass. And it's covered in dunes, but not of sand. Dunes of sparkling sand composed of ground glass particles.
Ground glass, that sounds abrasive.
Extremely. The sources say it's abrasive and dangerous with prolonged exposure. And the weather. Lethal. When the wind kicks up, it creates these storms of glass particles. If you don't find shelter fast, it can literally grind flesh from bones.
Okay, that's horrifying. A desert that scours you clean. Where did something like that come from? Was it always like that?
According to the lore within Ardain, no. The glass desert is believed to be all that remains of the Maker's Hall. This was supposedly a vast castle of glass, the citadel of a figure called the Maker. But it was slagged and melted when Loten, that demon entity, burned hottest in Ardain's prehistory.
So it's the scar left by an ancient magical cataclysm.
Exactly. A permanent, deadly reminder of some ancient war or disaster. And who would live in such a place? Well, glass pirate clans.
Glass pirates? How do they even travel?
On ships that skate on magic blades. Picture that vessels gliding across the reflective glass surface.
Okay, that's cool. And presumably they're not friendly.
Generally not. They mostly raid the lands bordering the desert for food, gold, slaves, and other valuables. Then retreat back into the glass where few dare follow. And they fight amongst themselves, too. It's not one big, happy pirate family. There's even this character, Saraja of the Revenge, a glass pirate who secretly hunts other pirates, kind of like an undercover vigilante, maintaining her cover with tall tales of her own cruelty.
Intrigue among the pirates. Nice. Are there any legends associated with this desert, treasures, lost artifacts?
Absolutely. There's the legend of the Silver Sword. It's supposedly a blade of glass visible every 9 years as a reflection in the desert's surface. And if someone worthy claims it, they can temporarily shrink the borders of the glass desert, like healing the land briefly.
A quest item.
Pretty much. There's a group called the Reclaimers, led by Galetta Swan, who wait patiently for decades just for a chance to grab it. But now they have to compete with pirates and adventurers who've heard the legends. The desert is also haunted by ghost ships. Spectral vessels crewed by the undead, often former sailors shanghaied into service after death. They might hold treasure, but, ghosts. And potential eternal servitude. And beneath the surface, sometimes under the right conditions, maybe certain light, maybe magic, the original Maker's Hall can be seen as a reflection. Astounding series of mounting, shining ramparts. Below the glass itself, the ruins are apparently infested with ancient soul sorcerers trying to get deeper inside. And there's a story that the betrayer once got in and nearly destroyed Ardain itself, so immense power and danger are buried there.
This place sounds intense. What about unique items? Magical artifacts reflecting this glassy environment?
Definitely. The Silver Sword itself is one, a radiant talwar that enhances attacks but also consumes souls trapped in its blade. Pretty dark.
Yeah, definitely dark.
Then there's the glass ship blade, a rare metal component quarried from those mysterious Quephilim ruins, which allows the pirate ships to skate on magic. And spellbooks of glass, thin tomes bound with reflective glass, suggesting spells might be inscribed on glass, not paper. Everything ties back to the desert's unique nature.
Okay, from pure magic and glass deserts, let's shift gears completely. Next up, Rook. The sources mention this is a mad science recursion. Sounds like a total opposite to Arden. What's the story with Rook?
It really is a world apart.
Oh.
Rook operates under mad science, whereas the source says the marvels of science fiction are commonplace, especially things involving genetic manipulation, biological shaping, and technological wonder.
So bioengineering, advanced tech, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Think less wizards, more geneticists and strange machines. And the origin is fascinating, too. The Rookians are described as aliens who fled the destruction of their homeworld through the strange. They traveled until they essentially ran aground in the shoals of Earth. Their entire recursion is the shipwreck caught fast. So they live inside this colossal, crashed alien vessel that somehow got stuck and became a stable, limited world.
An entire civilization living in a crashed spaceship.
Yes.
Incredible. And you mentioned earlier they have factions, and that Earth's fate might be tied to them.
Yeah. There are powerful, ancient, warring factions within Rook. Their internal struggles have apparently escalated recently, and somehow the outcome could impact Earth. High stakes, even if we don't know it.
So if they're these advanced aliens, why are they recruiting humans? You mentioned that earlier. How does that work, and why do they need Earthborn? Seems odd.
It does seem odd, but there's a specific reason rooted in their biology and technology. One faction, called Zal, actively recruits people from Earth. They use various methods, sometimes anonymous social media contact, like targeted ads designed to attract imaginative types.
Huh. Recruitment via social media. Modern.
Right. If someone responds, they might get a mysterious package with clues, coordinates for a contact, maybe a cipher as proof. Or sometimes it's a visitor at the door, Zal agents disguised as, say, government types, or even religious proselytizers.
Clever, using familiar guises. And if someone takes the bait.
They're brought to Ruck, briefed on the situation, the strange, recursions, Ruck's place in it all. Then they're offered intensive training. A key part of this training involves exposure to the All-Song.
The All-Song.
It's this pervasive data network, fundamental to Ruckian consciousness. It's how they communicate, access info, maybe even how they experience reality to some extent. But here's the catch. If a recruit reacts badly, can't handle using the All-Song, or has a psychological breakdown, they're sent back to Earth.
Okay, fair enough.
But only after being given a memory-dissolving enzyme. Wipes the whole experience. So it shows the risks, the psychological toll, and the ethical gray areas involved. And the reason they need Earthborn is crucial. Humans, according to the sources, are naturally repelled by the All-Song. We don't have that low-level connection Rookians do. This means humans can operate in areas where the All-Song is damaged or corrupted, like a region called the Scar, without being slowly driven barking mad, which is what would happen to a Rookian.
So our lack of connection is actually an advantage in certain places.
Exactly. Captain Milana Shem, a Zal leader, believes Earthborn are crucial for missions using their main ship, the Resolution, especially if it has to travel outside Rook into normal space. Rookians function poorly outside their specific mad science laws. Humans don't have that limitation. Makes us valuable, if disposable, assets.
You mentioned the Scar. What is that exactly? This area where the All-Song is damaged.
Yeah, the Scar is basically the slum of Harmonious, Rook's main city. Even with all their amazing tech, they still have a slum. It's described as a wide and unsightly district like a bite chewed out of the city, a sloping, metallic, and synthetic dystopia. It was created nearly 1,000 years ago by a massive explosion, and it's still dangerous.
And dangerous how? Beyond the corrupted data network.
Physically dangerous, too. Splintered spars, unstable structures, broken towers, weird patches of vegetation, probably rogue bioexperiments, components that squirt odoriferous gases or arc with strange energies, and always the risk of just falling from the heights of the main city into the depths. Earthborn are ideal explorers here because they avoid the madness-inducing effect of the broken All-Song. There's actually a small Rookian faction, the Geshamar, trying to clean it up using their bioengineers for research and Earthborn for the dangerous exploration work.
And this ship, the Resolution, the one Earthborn are crucial for. Tell us more about that. Sounds like a serious piece of hardware.
Oh, it is. The strange craft Resolution is massive, built for a crew of several hundred, capable of expeditions lasting months. But its biggest secret, its key strategic value, is that it's specifically outfitted to operate in normal space, outside Rux's native reality.
Ah, so it can leave the recursion.
Precisely, which is vital because Zal detected a disturbance out there, implying a threat or situation needing intervention beyond Ruck, possibly involving Earth. Its missions are pretty wild. Patrol the Scar, obviously, eradicate mitocytic pools.
Wait, acidic pools?
Yeah, it's described as like sentient goo, genetic seepage from rogue labs that births dangerous creatures. Gross. But also missions like save the ISS astronauts in Earth space without revealing itself, or even intercept the giant asteroid, like Apophis, again in Earth space.
Whoa, so they're potentially intervening in major Earth events completely secretly.
That's the implication. It really connects their advanced sci-fi world to potentially critical moments for us, all happening behind the scenes.
All right, next up. This one sounds like a truly bizarre mashup. Camelot Lemort. King Arthur meets a nanovirus. How does that even work?
It is a fascinating and pretty grim combination. The sources describe it as a collision between all these stories, movies, and myths of King Arthur and, modern stories about nanovirus plagues that transform victims into something with cyber-organic flesh. So it operates under both magic and mad science laws. You get castles and knights, but also cybernetics and plagues, a unique, often horrifying blend.
So what's the core threat, this nanovirus?
Exactly. It's called the Maladie de la Machine, a level 4 transformative virus that literally turns living flesh into its cybernetic equivalent. Victims become mechanibes, walking, buzzing things of iron, as the source puts it. The transformation takes days, usually, but it's faster if you're infected directly by another mechanism, which makes fighting them incredibly risky.
Spreading the infection through combat. Nasty. So what's happened to the classic Arthurian figures? Arthur, Lancelot, Merlin, one wife Arthur, okay. Or cyber knights.
Things are not good in Camelot.
Yeah.
Arthur is dead. Foundational tragedy right there. Lancelot. He actually joined Mordred's revolt, didn't stick around. Merlin is missing. Vanished into the strange itself, apparently looking for a red dragon from another mad science recursion, hoping it holds a cure or weapon.
A cyber dragon, maybe.
Who knows? And Morgan Le Fay, She's retreated to Avalon, maybe hiding, maybe plotting. And Gwen Wyfar. She's the tragic figure at the center now. She is afflicted by the disease. She rules Camelot, such as it is, with her mechanism knights. And she's trying to fix a broken, inapposite gate that Merlin cursed, maybe hoping to escape or find help, or maybe something worse.
And the Knights of the Round Table, what happened to them?
It's a mixed grim bag. Some, like Sir Galahad, once the purest, right? They're transformed. They serve Gwen Wyfar. Galahad is described as brooding now, threatening, and he absolutely detests his father Lancelot most of all for resisting the infection. Shows how the plague twists minds as well as bodies. Other knights join Mordred before getting infected. Others are still out there questing for the Holy Grail, hoping they can heal the land, clinging to the old magic. Sir Kay is another converted knight, described as still loquacious but loyal to the Cyber Queen, even escorting visitors, a chilling normality over the horror.
Where are these key locations, Camelot? Has it changed much?
Camelot itself, the grand towers, are now visibly changed, thick with wire communication webbing, part of the nanovirus infrastructure, seemingly woven into the stone. There's a detail about the Siege Perilous, Merlin's magic chair for the Grail Knight. A few mechanisms tried to sit in it early on and were instantly killed, so now nobody touches it, magic fighting back against the tech. There's also Caerleon, a city protected by powerful magical shields where some rogue mechanisms who fight their programming live alongside uninfected humans, a pocket of resistance.
And Stonehenge, it exists here too.
It does. Built by Merlin, still a place of magical power, but with a dark twist. Beneath each stone is the body of a defeated warlock, demon, or fey being, Merlin trapped there. Their spirits protect the henge. Magic users can meditate there to try and commune with these spirits, risking a psychic battle but potentially learning new spells. Merlin used it as a kind of magical backup drive, a spell repository. Power, but built on conquest.
Okay, the Holy Grail, the ultimate Arthurian artifact. Surely that can fix things, cure the malady.
Here's where it gets really dark and ironic. In Camelot La Morte, drinking from the Grail, it usually just turns anyone who drinks from it into a walking corpse, no different than a zombie.
What? It creates zombies?
Yeah, complete subversion of its power. The only way it doesn't do that is if the drinker has been prepared. With a series of technological adjuvants, surgically implanted wiring, tech installed by, get this, the 11th Reich's Wissenschaftsbüro.
The 11th Reich, are they involved too?
Apparently. Some other recursion bleeding through. They use the Grail, modified with their tech, to create their stable of zombies. So a sacred artifact, twisted into a tool for mad science and undeath. Utterly perverse. And finally, there's this entity, Cronin, or the Source, as most call it. This thing was the primary vector of the intelligent cyber-organic infection. It came to convert the whole recursion. But Merlin, Arthur, and Morgan Le Fay fought it and somehow broke its connection to its core programming. Now, as Cronin, it's like this incredibly powerful but innocent newborn living peacefully with some performers.
So it's neutralized.
For now. But if someone like Gwen Wyfar managed to capture and subdue it, its original programming could be reactivated. The Cronin personality would vanish, and the world-converting plague could start all over again. A potential cure that's also the ultimate weapon.
Okay, wow. Moving on to something maybe slightly less overtly horrifying, maybe New York Grey. This one hits close to home, New York City, but with Greys living among us. What's the real story there? Sounds almost mundane on the surface.
It does seem mundane initially. New York Grey operates under mad science and is described as like the actual New York in many ways, except that aliens known as Greys live among humans, publicly. It's all about integration. TV shows, ads, cultural events, they portray Greys as just another part of the city's diverse fabric.
Yeah.
Happy coexistence.
There's always a but.
But it's largely a facade. What's really fascinating and deeply disturbing is the hidden struggle happening beneath the surface. Despite the PR, many Greys openly feel that humans are an inferior race. They wouldn't mind becoming our legal guardians, essentially taking over. This dominant faction seeking control is called the Radiant Sun. They're opposed by a smaller group, the Oath, who actually sympathize with humans and believe in genuine coexistence.
Yeah.
And many Greys are caught in the middle. So it's this quiet, cold war for the future of humanity being fought right under our noses in this recursive NYC.
And we have to talk about the cereal. Sunny Flakes. The Source mentioned something truly horrifying about that. What's the secret?
Yeah, this is profoundly unsettling. The Sunny Flakes factory has been a huge success story since getting Grey sponsorship. Beloved brand, right?
I can picture the cheerful box.
Exactly. But the terrifying secret, it's a front. It's a meeting space for the Radiant Sun. and it operates a separate cereal line where humans are dried, powdered, and processed into an innocuous-looking ingredient. This ingredient is then fed back into the regular factory production.
Yes, Sunny Flakes is people.
Oh my God. No,
Exactly.
seriously. It's a stark, chilling example of how deep the deception goes, how parasitic the relationship truly is, hiding genocide in a breakfast cereal. And floating above the city, often hidden by clouds, is the mothership. A massive shadow miles wide with oddly organic components, like a living storm cloud. Humans see it as the source of abductions, a bogeyman. The truth is it's a colony ship that can create colonists at need. And inside, abominations slither results of grotesque experiments. The Greys currently on Earth in this recursion are all hybrids, genetically engineered by this unseen directorate back home to survive, even thrive on Earth. They use modified human DNA to do it, though they usually destroy the evidence. It points to a long-term plan of infiltration and adaptation.
This is deeply creepy. A whole city living alongside aliens who might be secretly plotting control, or literally eating them. Are there any key figures fighting back? We're trying to expose the truth.
Yes, there are pockets of resistance and some really interesting individuals caught up in this. There's Amy. She's a stand-up Grey comedian.
A Greek comedian, okay.
Uses humor as a cover, but she's also secretly quickened, so she can travel between recursions. Lately, her jokes have gotten darker, focused on apocalyptic themes. She apparently believes New York Grey is a lie, that Greys aren't even a real alien race in the way they present themselves. And she's thinking about somehow collapsing New York Grey, ending the whole charade, which raises huge questions about what reality even is there.
Wow, a comedian trying to unravel reality. Who else?
Then there's Manny, who also goes by Dr. Carlos Menard. He's a Grey scientist, but he has sympathy for the human plight. He's working against the Radiant Sun, part of a human resistance group. To operate secretly among humans, he wears a human suit, taking on the persona of Dr. Menard.
A literal human suit.
Yep. Advanced disguise tech. And he created an enforcer, Lobo,
Right.
a robot body with an AI based on a downloaded human mind. And to make things even more complex, Lobo recently became quickened too. So you have this AI with a human soul who can now travel realities.
Sheer layers upon layers. Any human resistance figures.
Maria Simons stands out.
Yeah.
She's a DGIS agent, presumably some kind of government agency dealing with the Grey situation. She's a true believer that Greys are hostile. Her father was apparently an abductee who later committed suicide, so it's personal for her. She's described as quick with a pistol when investigating, often needing her partner to calm her down. Highlights the paranoia and real danger involved in confronting the Greys directly.
And what about the tech, the artifacts? What kind of mad science gadgets show up in New York Grey?
They definitely reflect the Grey aesthetic and their advanced, often creepy tech. There's the Grey Gazer, a circlet that launches a little flying eye drone for surveillance. The Grey Gun, a tiny silver thing that inflates into a temporary basic replica of a human for about a minute before melting. Super disturbing utility there.
Like a disposable decoy person. Ugh.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There's the Psychic Converter, a harness that converts incoming damage into mental energy, boosting your intellect pool, turning pain into thought. And of course, the human suit itself, advanced disguise tech, allowing a Grey to perfectly mimic a specific human. All very focused on infiltration, control, and biomanipulation.
Okay, we've seen recursions based on fantasy, sci-fi, Arthurian legend, alien conspiracies, but some sound like they're just wrong, broken. R639 sounds like one of those. What's the deal with this one? A glitch in the strange.
That's exactly how the sources describe it. R639 breaks the fundamental rules of recursion travel. It is a glitch in the strange. Getting into it is incredibly difficult. Difficulty 10. Basically near impossible. Getting out is even harder. And what is it? It's an empty version of Seattle?
Yeah.
Eerily empty. But not just empty. Broken.
Broken how?
The sources mention a chthonic presence. Chthonics seem to be these. Negative, corrupting entities or forces native to the strange itself, not born from fiction. Their presence suggests R639 has been somehow flayed open, allowing creatures from the deep strange to get in. It's like a wound in reality, letting infection seep through, a fundamental breach.
Flayed open. That sounds terrifying. So what's it actually like inside this empty, corrupted Seattle? What do you find there?
It's deeply unsettling. First, you find the remnants of the original inhabitants, thousands of sets of clothes and pet collars filled with desiccated dust and ash, just piles of dust where people used to be.
Chilling. What else? Actual threats.
Oh yes, there are these killing white light creatures, points of intense cold light that drain heat and life from living things, turning them into more glowing ash, consumed from within. And then there's this incredibly bizarre specific horror, an amputated, Yet still writhing human arm trapped under a cinder block downtown. It apparently tries to kill things by vibrating.
A killer severed arm. Seriously.
Seriously. It supposedly belonged to a recursor from Ardain named Garland of the Fall. His arm got left behind, still murderously animate. Just weird and horrifying. Even trying to loot things here is dangerous. You might find pseudo-ciphers, lumps of volcanic glass that look like useful items. But if you take them out of R639 and try to use them, they don't work. They hatch as a killing white light.
So taking souvenirs literally breeds more monsters.
Exactly. The corruption is contagious. The place is also plagued by reality scars, bubbles of visual and auditory static where senses get muted. If you get knocked out inside one, you might just get ejected randomly into the raw strange itself, lost in the void.
Man, this sounds like a one-way trip to oblivion. Is anyone actually trapped there? Anyone still alive?
Tragically, yes. A small team of Karam agents from Rook, remember the aliens? They ended up in R639 after a catastrophic translation failure. Only 2 survived, Urgalrum and Dramedin. They're stuck, torn between trying to investigate this anomaly, which was their mission, and just desperately trying to escape. Graham Eden keeps trying to translate out but fails every time. One attempt killed his pilot via Thonics. It's a hopeless situation.
Awful. Any human survivors?
Yes, and it's arguably even darker. In the Virginia Grayson Medical Center, there are 3 human survivors. Dazed, confused, memory gaps. Clearly traumatized. But the psychiatrist who was with them, Dr. Benjamin Radakovich, he's lost his mind. He's now secretly murdering the other survivors, keeping gruesome trophies of flesh and skin. He believes he's slowly transforming into a god and needs to kill everyone else to complete the process.
Oh, God. That's beyond grim. The place doesn't just kill you, it breaks you in the worst ways.
It seems to. R639 is a true nightmare recursion, a glimpse into what happens when reality itself unravels.
Okay, let's try to end our tour on a slightly more vibrant note, maybe. Wuxia City. Hidden martial arts wars in San Francisco. That sounds like it could be fun in a dangerous way. What's the scene there?
It definitely has a different energy. Wuxia City runs on magic and is seeded by stories, movies, and myths of the modern Wuxia genre. Think high-flying martial arts, mystical powers, ancient spirits. But it's all set in a recursive version of San Francisco. So you get people zip through the air, smashing swords and flinging lightning, but against the backdrop of, cable cars and the Golden Gate Bridge. And ordinary folks, poor schmucks, often get dragged into a fight between assassins, warring gangs, and evil spirits of the ancient world. It blends the mundane and the hyper-fantastical.
So hidden societies and martial arts masters operating just out of sight.
Exactly. The core conflict is this millennia-long war has raged beneath the surface between powerful hidden schools. These aren't just dojos. They could be secret academies, ancient orders, even groups of demons in service to ancient Chinese entities. It's a deep, secret war for the soul of the city.
Okay, tell us about these hidden schools. Who are the main factions fighting this secret war?
There are 3 major players highlighted. First, the Storm. They're a college of sorcerers and affiliated dojos, mostly mortals wielding elemental magic. Their philosophy: humans are the rightful inheritors of existence. They see themselves as defenders, protecting humanity from curses and entities of the ancient world, even if they have to use similar dark magic sometimes. They're constantly hunting the darkness.
And the darkness. Is that another school?
More like a transformation. Joining the darkness isn't about training. It's an induction that turns you into a flesh-eating ghoul, permanently. They control miles of warrens beneath Wuxia City, a hidden network under the streets. Their leader is the Hungry Emperor, or the Emperor of the Ghouls, an ancient being who might predate even the demon gods. He delusionally believes his empire is America and his capital city is San Francisco, even though almost no one knows he exists. Pure ancient evil hiding below.
Creepy. And the third school?
The Sun Chasers. Publicly, they run well-lighted dojos, seeming perfectly normal. But secretly, their martial artists use light training attacks that deal extra damage and let them store light energy to unleash later. Very potent. They serve a demon god Kua Fu, also known as Xia Chen, who can apparently grow to 60 feet in height. So we're talking god-level powers involved in these street fights. It elevates the conflict way beyond just gangs.
With forces like these clashing, there must be some really powerful individuals involved. Any notable figures we should know about?
Absolutely. Within the Storm, there are 3 key figures, kind of a power trio. There's Lei, who thunders. He's brooding, intense, convinced the world's doomed unless the ancient demons are finally bottled up. He wields thunder power and seeks an artifact called the 10-Demon Bag for salvation. He's willing to sacrifice anything and anyone for his cause. Ruthless. Then there's Mei, who flashes. She's the opposite. Talkative, quick, a master of schemes, deals, assassinations. She projects red lightning from a pair of red ruby spectacles that have fused to her face.
Fused to her face? Ouch.
Yeah, permanent modification. She's also utterly ruthless, even against magical beings that aren't necessarily evil. And balancing them out is Shan Who Strikes. She dresses in wondrous clothes sewn from flower petals, but delivers brutal martial arts beatdowns. She's described as mild and kind, but deadly serious. Her implacable will has apparently stopped some of the worst atrocities planned by Lee and May. She's the conscience, maybe?
The dangerous trio. Anyone else important?
There's Dr. Kang. He acts as a broker of peace deals between the hidden schools, stepping in when things risk boiling over into public view. He also supplies mystical components, rings, mirrors, magic potions, and powders. So he's a key facilitator, an arms dealer of magic, maybe, keeping a fragile peace.
And artifacts. Wuxia City must have some cool magical items, right?
Oh yeah, definitely fitting the genre. Those red ruby spectacles May wears allow lightning projection, but risk fusing to you. Powerful, but costly. There are eyeglasses of memory that let you temporarily copy an ability you just saw someone use. Super useful for adapting in a fight. A hand mirror of afar lets you spy on places you've been and even teleport there, though it might send you slightly off course. Great for infiltration or escape.
Okay, those sound useful. Anything really unique?
The 7-demon bag is probably the most unique and dangerous. It's an ancient bag that contains, well, 7 different demons you can release. Each has a different power. Poison attacks, stunning touch, wind blasts, cryptic advice, multi-attacks, healing hugs.
A healing hug from a demon.
Apparently. But then there's Beigou Jing, a 9-foot skeleton demon that attacks you when released and can trap you inside its ribs, potentially turning you into one of the demons in the bag.
Whoa. So using it is a massive gamble.
Exactly. Huge power, huge risk. Perfectly embodies the Wuxia City vibe, flashy, powerful, and incredibly dangerous.
Okay, this whole system, recursions, strange, secret societies, all these fantastical elements, it's an incredibly sprawling, complex universe you've laid out for us. We've seen how fiction shapes these worlds, but how do the people traveling between them get their specific powers? Does the recursion just grant them abilities?
That's a really key part of how it all works for individuals, for the recursors, as they're called. It comes down to this concept of foci. Each recursion operates under certain laws, right? Like magic in Ardain, mad science in Rook, maybe psionic somewhere else, or even just standard physics like our world, though that seems rarer. These laws dictate what's possible there. So when a recursor translates, they don't just arise, they adapt. They might gain new sets of abilities appropriate to that specific world. Or their existing foci might get modified by the recursion's context.
So you don't just keep your powers from home, they change.
They can, yeah. It ensures you fit the narrative, the rules of the place you've entered. You become, in a way, a character native to that story, even if you just arrived. It's a dynamic adaptation. Let me give you some specific examples from the sources. In Camelot Le Morte, if you choose the focus of being a mechanism when you translate, you get boosts like better armor and a special cyber pool for tech feats. But the huge downside, you're constantly fighting to keep control of your own mind against the nanovirus. Power at a terrible cost.
Right, a trade-off built into the focus.
Exactly. Or consider Microcosmica, this theoretical recursion where you shrink down to microbial size. If you had a focus like conducts weird science, in Microcosmica it would automatically become biological in nature. Your inventions would be biotech, genetic manipulation, fitting the microscopic scale. One more. Samurai Sky, a world of flying samurai. If you chose the focus wields 2 weapons at once, those weapons wouldn't be, say, pistols. They'd be nunchaku, or similar martial weapons appropriate to that setting.
Okay, I see. So your abilities literally morph to match the world's theme and rules. That makes sense. It grounds the characters in each reality.
Precisely. It makes the experience deeply personal and constantly evolving for the explorer. Their identity isn't fixed. It flows with the recursions they visit.
Now, beyond the cool settings and the shifting powers, a clear theme running through all these descriptions is conflict. Internal struggles, external threats. It seems these recursions aren't just places to visit, they're often battlegrounds. What are the big patterns of conflict we see across these different worlds?
You're absolutely right. Conflict is almost inherent to the structure of these recursions as presented. Several key themes emerge consistently. First, as you noted, is factionalism and internal strife. It's everywhere. The warring factions in Ruck tearing their own world apart. The hidden Cold War between the Radiant Sun and the Oath Greys in New York Grade. The ancient secret war between the hidden schools in Wuxia City. It's constant. Even within groups like the IGS, you have Dame Amanda's dangerous secrets or Richard Hunt's controversial quest. These internal divisions drive so much of the action and danger. Explorers aren't just facing monsters, they're navigating complex politics and rivalries.
So it's never just simple exploration.
Rarely. And that leads to the second major theme, the price of knowledge and power. There's almost always a cost, often steep, for getting involved. Think about Zal's memory-wiping enzyme in Ruck. The cost of failure is losing part of yourself, or becoming a mechanism in Camelot-Lamort, gaining power but risking losing your mind. The sheer horror of the Sunny Flakes factory shows the ultimate price some pay unknowingly. And Dr. Radakovich in R639, the psychological cost of confronting a broken reality can be complete annihilation of the self.
Yeah, the cost seems incredibly high sometimes. Loss of memory, sanity, even humanity.
Exactly. It constantly asks the question, how far are you willing to go? What are you willing to sacrifice or have taken from you for what you learn or gain? And the third big theme is the threat of the strange itself. Beyond the conflicts within recursions, the network they exist in is inherently dangerous. We saw it most clearly with R639, that glitch that got flayed open, letting dangerous phonics seep in. The very fabric of reality is vulnerable. Even powerful beings like this Derim Talalumas mentioned in passing from Atlantis are apparently wary of traveling through the strange directly. They prefer safer routes. It suggests the network itself is this vast, unpredictable, potentially hostile environment, a cosmic force that can corrupt or destroy the worlds it hosts.
So the danger isn't just the dragons or the aliens, it's the foundation everything is built on.
Precisely. And that connects back to you listening right now.
Yeah.
Being informed, understanding these hidden dynamics and dangers. It's crucial. It's like navigating our own world, isn't it? So much information, so many hidden agendas. You need to understand the underlying currents to make sense of it all.
So, after journeying through all these numberless and strange worlds, what does it all really mean for us? For you, listening. We've talked about fiction becoming reality, ancient alien tech, secret societies, hidden horrors. What's the big takeaway here?
It really forces you to ask a pretty profound question, doesn't it? If fiction, if the stories we tell and absorb, can literally shape reality in these other dimensions, what does that say about the power of stories in our world? What about the narratives we consume every day, the shared beliefs we hold? Does our collective imagination have a similar, maybe subtler power here? It really challenges that line between what we think of as real and what we dismiss as imagined.
The idea that our minds collectively, maybe accidentally, are constantly creating. That's huge.
It is, and it ties directly back to why understanding this stuff matters. It's not just about cool fantasy worlds. It's about grasping the profound influence of narrative, of shared perception on the reality we experience. It's that aha moment realizing stories might be more powerful than we think.
Yeah, think about it. If the stories we love, or even the ones we fear, can manifest as tangible places with real consequences, maybe understanding the patterns in those worlds gives us insight into our own. The conflicts, the hidden truths, the way societies function or break down in these fictional realities, perhaps they mirror dynamics we see right here. It reminds us that getting informed, really understanding something thoroughly, isn't just about facts. It's about seeing the connections, the surprising implications that others might miss. Even in something that seems like just a story, it's about seeing the structure beneath the surface. And that brings us to the end of another, well, definitely mind-bending exploration here on the Uncanny Valley podcast. We've plunged into worlds numberless and strange today. From the sorcery of Ardine to the shipwrecked science of Wreck, we saw Arthurian legend collide with nanoviruses in Camelot-Lamort, uncovered the truly disturbing secrets of New York Grey, and felt the unsettling wrongness of a reality glitch like R639. And we navigated the hidden wars of Wuxia City.
We really covered a lot. We've seen how fiction can literally leak into reality, how ancient alien disasters echo through existence, and how secret societies grapple with discoveries that could change everything. It's been a journey that really underscores the surprising, sometimes terrifying, power of stories and how we perceive the world.
So as you go about your day, maybe mull this over. If our fictions can create entire worlds out there in the strange, what unseen realities might be getting woven right now by the collective stories we live by right here? What fictional leakage might be quietly shaping the edges of your reality in ways you haven't even noticed?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and definitely stay curious.
This has been the Uncanny Valley Podcast.